Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. Today we are going to discuss about a recent winter of this particular year, that is 2021. And if we try to understand that what was different or unique about this particular winter season is, first of all, it is believed to be much more colder, much more wetter, that means more rainfall has happened. And also if you talk about the density of fog, it has been relatively lesser, especially in the northern regions of the country. So that makes this winter quite unique, and we'll try to understand that what might be the reasons behind such occurrences, and we also try to understand other factors that actually affect the winter season in India. So let us try to understand and go deeper into this particular topic. So first of all, background, if we try to understand that in the winter of year 2021-2022 is appearing to be unusually cold and unusually long. Second, the days, especially talk about in particular, are feeling much more colder and also much more chillier. Now here two terms are there. Colder, basically when you talk about the cold or hot, we are basically talking about the degree of temperature, while when we talk about chillier, chillier means the cold is already there, the temperature is already very less, but at the same time if we talk about the speed of the wind, the cold winds that blows is also much more stronger, that gives a chilly feeling to the people in the winter season. And third, at the same time, the amount of rainfall that India or the Indian states have received in this particular winter season has been quite higher as compared to the other past years. So let us try to understand that how we can understand this whole phenomena in a much more scientific, in much more geographical manner. So first of all, since December 2021, if we try to understand the extent of coldness or how different the cold season was this year, the maximum temperature across the north, northwest as well as in central India have persistently remained below the normal. Now obviously the question comes that what do we understand or what do we mean by the term normal? So normal is something that is defined by Indian Meteorological Department when the temperature remains above 16 degrees Celsius. However, if the maximum temperature in a day drops below 16 degrees Celsius, then that day is categorized as a cold day as per the lexicon of IMD. So if we try to understand that in whole month of January, and still we have almost a week to go by, 8 days has been a cold day. That means we can say in 8 days of January, the temperature, the maximum temperature of the day had fallen below 16 degrees Celsius. And not only in Delhi, even if you go to the coastal Maharashtra, in the Konkan region, we see the normal temperature and the actual temperature in the month of January recorded was almost 6 to 8 degrees Celsius below the normal temperature. So not only in the continental part of India, but also in the coastal regions of India, the winter seems to be much more colder than usual. Now obviously, we try to understand that what are the weather systems that are active in India during winter season. So the most important weather disturbance or weather system that is active, especially in the northwestern part of the country, is something that is referred as western disturbance. And as per the estimate of IMD, almost 7 western disturbances has passed over India this particular year. And it is this continuous passage of or more frequent occurrences of western disturbance like phenomena that has been associated with the widespread rain in the plain regions, snowfall in the Himalayan regions, as well as a squally weather. Squally weather means we can say it is a kind of very windy weather that we observe both in the mountainous regions, in the plain regions, as well as even extending up to the plateau regions of the Indian subcontinent. And this whole western disturbance actually has been strengthened by a presence of low-lying clouds as well as the availability of higher amount of water vapor, that is moisture, along the Indo-Gangetic plain this particular year. So what we can basically say that it is a combination of western disturbances along with the low-lying clouds and the high amount of water vapor in the Indo-Gangetic plain regions that can be said to be or that can be attributed with the unusual winter that people are witnessing in India. So obviously now we can try to understand that what is the western disturbance and what is the role that is played by western disturbance in the winter season of India. So western disturbance actually is a kind of extra tropical cyclone that develops in the Mediterranean Sea region, as we can see from this particular diagram here, due to temperature difference between the polar regions, and in the subtropical regions we have confluence of cold air and warm air around this Mediterranean region. And this confluence of colder air and warm air causes a cyclogenesis, that is development of cyclone, which is a low pressure system in the upper atmosphere. So as this cyclone start moving along with the westerlies wind that moves from west to east. Finally, the cyclone enters from Mediterranean Sea to the Iran region. From Iran, it enters into the Pakistan region, and from Pakistan, it enters into India. When this enters into Pakistan and India, actually this western disturbance system, or all this this tropical cyclonic system, extratropical cyclonic system, actually collides the Himalayas. And as it collides the Himalaya, it causes intense snowfall in the upper reaches of Himalaya. At the same time, it causes rainfall in the lower regions of Himalayas throughout the whole belt of Himalaya, extending from the Jammu and Kashmir in the north to the Arunachal Pradesh in the east. And this rainfall that occurs or that is caused by the western disturbance in India is very much important for the agriculture of the northern India, because it is the winter rainfall that plays a very important role or that helps in the cultivation of wheat crop in the northern regions. Wheat crop, as we know, it is a rabi crop which is grown during the winter season, and this small amount of rainfall that occurs during season helps a lot in the cultivation of wheat crops. Then apart from this, other effect or implications of western disturbances that we have seen in this particular year is that obviously we have much colder weather and cold wave like phenomena that has not only gripped the North India but also it has gripped the South India. Second, it has also called prolonged cold spell in the North India. So when the extent or duration of cold spell in northern India has increased in this particular year, at the same time the phenomena has been stretched up to the South India, which is a kind of unusual phenomena. Not only that, if we try to understand the impact of the western disturbance in the western part of India, so here we have a lot of hailstorm-like phenomena that northern Maharashtra has encountered. At the same time, in the Tamil Nadu region, especially in the coastal regions of Tamil Nadu, we have heavy rainfall that is associated with this. Now, the heavy rainfall in the coastal regions of Tamil Nadu can be basically understood by the simple fact that in the winter season, the direction of movement of wind is from northeasterly part of India. Wind moves from northeastern part to southwestern part, and while crossing over Bay of Bengal, these winds picks up the moisture, and when these winds enter in the coastal regions of Tamil Nadu, that is when they cause precipitation. So almost 80 to 90% of rainfall that Tamil Nadu receives throughout the year is mainly received during this particular winter season. So these are the three major impact of western disturbances in winter. However, if we try to understand that what has been the take of the IMD scientists on this particular phenomena, so as per IMD, it is believed that it is the frequent and higher number of western disturbances that is occurring in this particular year can be linked to the other phenomena that is related to the Pacific Ocean, and this weather phenomena is called as La Nina. And at present, IMD believes that there is a moderate intensity La Nina events are there, or La Nina conditions are there, which is manifesting itself in the equatorial Pacific Ocean. So let us try to understand now that what is the La Nina phenomena. So La Nina phenomena is related with the atmospheric circulation that is called as Walker circulation. In Walker circulation, generally what happens in the central Pacific Ocean near the coastline of Australia, we have uprising of warm and moisture. As this warm and moisture rises, the moisture present in the air, as it rises up, it becomes colder. As it becomes colder, it leads to condensation of water vapor. Condensation leads to cloud formation, and cloud formation is associated with the heavy rainfall near the Australian, Indonesian and Philippines island. At the same time, the same wind moves or travels longitudinally, horizontally toward the eastern Pacific, where it descends down near the coastline of South America, especially Chile and Peru coast. And as the wind descends here, it creates a high pressure belt near South America, while due to rising of warm air, it creates a low pressure belt near Australia. So on the surface, as we know, wind always moves from high pressure to low pressure. On the surface, wind start moving from South American coast toward the Australian coast. Now, as this wind on the surface moves from South American coast toward Australian coast, this wind causes a frictional force which is exerted by this wind on the surface water, and surface water also start moving in the same direction. Now, as the surface water of the ocean start moving from east to west, this displacement of surface water near the South American coastline causes movement of subsurface water, that is from below the surface up to the surface, and this obviously the water that is coming up to the surface is a cold water. So this phenomena is called as upwelling. Upwelling again is a movement of cold subsurface water near South American coast to the surface. Thus, we have generation of cold water current near the South American coast. In some years, due to certain regions, the extent of cold water that is upwelling here, or that is getting upwelled here, becomes much more intense, and thus the temperature near the South American region, the sea surface temperature in the South American regions, becomes much more lower. This phenomena is called as La Nina phenomena. And as per IMD, this La Nina phenomena is somehow also influencing the frequency number as well as the intensity of the western disturbances in this particular year. Now, if we try to understand that, though we have understood that this winter particularly has been much more colder, much more chillier, but what is about the rainfall? Has this winter been rainy also? Then if we try to understand this from the data that we have gathered in this particular year from different regions of the India, we can see that almost 24 states as well as union territories of India have recorded rainfall varying from excess to large excess in this particular month of December and January. The only exception where the states have not recorded excess rainfall is mainly the northeastern states, where anyway the intensity or influence of western disturbances are relatively much more lesser. Not only that, if we try to understand on the all India level, the rainfall figure believes to be somewhere 196% above the normal condition. And third, especially talk about with respect to Delhi, with reference to Delhi, Delhi has witnessed the wettest January in not only in recent time but in last 122 years. That makes this winter much more unique. At the same time, if we try to understand that what is the condition of fog, now if you do not know, fog is something that can be referred as, in simple term, we can call fog as a ground level clouds. These ground level clouds are nothing but this develops, or fog develops, when we have sudden drop in the surface temperature of the earth. The sudden drop of surface temperature actually causes the sudden condensation of large amount of microscopic water vapor that is present near the surface, and that leads to formation of fog. The main this problem or difficulty with the fog is that when fog develops, it significantly reduces the visibility level, and generally scientifically, if visibility is reduced to less than 1 kilometer, then we can call it the fog. If visibility is more than 1 kilometer, then the fog is kind of light fog, which is generally referred as mist. So if we try to understand that how fog are different in this particular years compared to past, so in normal years or in normal times in past years, in the month of December, generally Delhi witnesses around 278 hours of fog that is spread over 21 days. However, in this particular year, Delhi has only witnessed 75 hours of fog, which is spread over a much lesser number of days. Not only that, even in January, in normal years, Delhi witnesses a fog of almost 292 hours, while in this years, the extent or the number of hours of fog is much lesser, it is only 252 hours. So obviously from this data, what we can infer is that in this particular winter also the fog or the extent of fog or the number of foggy days has been significantly lesser in December and relatively lesser in the January. And not only that, if we talk about the month of December, the foggy condition in the month of December, in this particular year, the foggy condition, especially with reference to Delhi, has been lowest since 1982. And as per the IMD, it is believed that the lowest fog hours has been recorded since 1991 to 1992 over the Delhi regions, combining both December and January month. So this is about the condition, cold conditions, the windy conditions, the fog condition and the rainy condition. Apart from that, some other winter observations have been made by the scientists. First is that there has been strong northern and northern westerly winds that has been present in this particular winter. Second, the places like states of Gujarat, Maharashtra and Delhi have recorded unusual dust storm. So obviously dust storms are generally, we can say, spread over in the winter season in the northern part of countries, especially Punjab, Delhi, Rajasthan region. However, in this year it has also expanded or reached up to the coastline of Gujarat and Maharashtra. And it is believed, we try to understand from this, look from this map, that the dust storm that has been generated, it actually was generated in the Saudi Arabia, and from Saudi Arabia this dust storm have moved over land, then entered into Afghanistan. From Afghanistan it entered into Pakistan, and from Pakistan it has entered into India and spread over both northern and western part of the countries. So these are some of the important weather phenomena, other winter unusual phenomena that we are witnessing this particular year. So that is all for this particular topic. I hope you understand the differences in this particular year winter as compared to the other years, and how and why it has been much more chillier, much more colder, and much more rainier, while being less foggy in nature. That's all for today. Thank you very much. We'll come again soon with another interesting topic. Till then, take care. Thank you very much.